All right, join us now, head coach of Wichita State, Coach Isaac Brown. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And we're just excited to talk hoops with one of the great coaches in the country, specifically TBT hoops. Coach, when you started as the head coach last year, were you familiar with the Aftershocks team?
Yes, I was familiar. The year before they had played the game here in Wichita. It was an exciting time. We were getting anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 fans. I came to 2 games. Really excited to have it back in Wichita.
You mentioned having it back in Wichita. It's been, a weird year in terms of fans. Are you excited to see a packed house cheering on the Aftershocks?
Yes, I can't wait for the games. The fans here in Wichita are getting really excited. All the former players are coming back. These guys have started a rich basketball tradition here at Wichita, and our fans just can't wait to pack Koch Arena.
I think what a lot of casual basketball fans don't understand is the atmosphere that is Koch Arena. Can you just talk about, in terms of, in the grand scheme of college athletics, where does it stand in your opinion in terms of atmospheres?
Oh, without a doubt, it's top 10. I tell people all the time, me being from the South, I'm from a football state, a football region. Here in Wichita, we don't wear helmets. So basketball is king. When you first walk into Koch Arena, it'll make the hair on your head stand straight up. So it's a great basketball environment. The people here understand basketball. You don't have to make a three or get a dunk in order for the crowd to get excited. They get excited about hustle plays. If you dive on the floor for a loose ball, if you take a charge, if you make a good pass. So the fans here, they know a lot about basketball.
So obviously you're going into year 2 as the head coach, but you've been on staff for quite some time. You know these guys. You love being around them, I'm sure. Of all the guys that are back on the team, who are some of your favorites that you're happy to be able to watch out there on the court again?
You know what? I like all of these guys, and I saw some of the players play in the TBT a couple of years ago. I'm just so excited to have the new guys like, Darrell Willis that didn't play the first time. Samaje Haynes-Jones that didn't play the first time. I'm glad those guys are getting an opportunity to come back and play. I'm hearing Takeo Cotton is coming back. Most of the guys are either coached. If I didn't coach those guys, I met them during my time here at Wichita State. So just super excited. Can't wait to get started. And I know the Roundhouse will be packed.
I want to rephrase Andrew's question a little bit. If you could take one guy from the Aftershocks, put him into a regular Wichita State jersey and have him on the roster for this upcoming year for you, who would you take?
Man, that's a tough call. There's so many players, and I don't want to, just pick out one guy.
Give us a few. But it's like picking your favorite kids. I get that.
I probably would take JR or Zach Bush off the coaching staff and put them back on my scout team. I really would.
That's a great answer, and not the answer I was expecting, honestly. So even better.
So TBT has a record 30 alumni teams that will be participating this summer. Have you used the Aftershocks as part of a recruiting pitch yet, where you're like, look how strong this family is? You come here for 4 years, but then you actually, if you're lucky enough, you could play for 4 more years, be a part of the Aftershocks.
Yeah, I've been telling a lot of recruits we just have a rich basketball history, and we're one of 4 regions. And they select these regions because of the number of fans you think you can generate. And again, I tell the kids, we don't wear football helmets here. Basketball is king, and we're going to get a big crowd. We're probably going to break the record this year. And I'm just telling all the Shocker fans, please come out and support the TBT. Just so happy to have our basketball players back home in Wichita.
I want to shift gears a little bit because, we told you before I started the interview, we spoke with Ron yesterday. And obviously he speaks really highly of you. He's a very casual, very chill guy, as you know. And we told him that we would have his back for any of his next steps in his basketball career. So my question to you is, how well do they have to do for you to give him a job on staff.
You know what? Baker has a job anytime he want to coach at Wichita State. I mean, the guy was always a player that was a coach on the floor. He was one of those guys that you could give a scouting report. And when you got on the floor, if Ron said, Coach, I think we need to guard it this way, I quickly changed the scouting report. You know, he's a smart, intelligent player. He's good with the players. He's a good teacher. I would love to have him on the staff one day.
He says he can golf. Should we believe it, or is he kind of full of it?
I heard he was a pretty good golfer, man, but, you know, he had that surgery, so I don't know how strong his drive is now. I'm sure he's still a good putter, but that hip may take away from him driving as far. But I know he can putt it.
We've had him on the show a couple different times, and you know, every time we ask him if he's going to play, even though we know the answer is no, and this time, just to elaborate, he said he can't run faster than like a 4.5 on the treadmill because of his hip. Whether he wants to or not, I don't think he wants to run anyway. But yeah, we don't really believe him about the golf stuff. He's been talking a big game, so just another incentive for the Aftershocks to get to Dayton, because that's where we'll be, and we can really see it, you know, firsthand. But we should get back to TBT a little bit more. One guy that we want to talk about specifically, who we think is one of the best players in the entire region, is Connor Frankamp. You know, not necessarily a four-year player with Wichita State, but when he was there, had a gigantic impact. Talk a little bit about Connor, what he means to Wichita State, and obviously the Aftershocks as well.
Number one, he's the all-time leading scorer in the city of Wichita. He's one of those guys that can shoot it from the timeline. He has a lot of confidence. I was telling somebody this the other day. I've been coaching for about 20 years, and Connor Frankamp, the year that he sat out, scored more points in practice than I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's one of those guys that can get 40 on a night. You know, he can score it, he can bounce it, he can create, and the fans in Wichita love him. Just so excited to have him back on the team, and he'll do great things. And you don't want to play Connor Frankamp in golf now.
Yeah.
You may play Baker, but don't play Frankamp.
That's what we also heard that. We know that Connor's a stud. Is he the best, and probably the best playing golfer basketball player, but is he the best shooter that you've ever coached?
He's one of the best. You know, I talked about it the other day. You know, Baker was a good shooter. Landry Shamet, Ron Baker, Dexter Dennis, Tyson Hinton, all those guys can shoot the basketball. On any given night, though, Connor could take over the game, and he could easily make 7 to 10 threes. He's just one of those guys that's got a lot of confidence, and you don't believe it when he first walk on that court. When the game is over, you know then.
Here's the big question for you. Do the Aftershocks have what it takes to win the $1 million and win the whole thing?
Yes, without a doubt. I think, number one, it starts with they got a good management. You know, they got a good coaching staff. You know, you got Ron Baker, you got JR, you got Zach Bush. They have enough talent. They're loaded in the backcourt. They got a bunch of guys that can defend at the wing spot. They got big guys inside that can score it on the block. If they want to go to a small ball lineup, they got 2 or 3 bigs that can step out and shoot threes. I think those guys have an excellent chance, and I know they'll be prepared to get to the next round.
What do you think of the three of us? If you guys if they make it to Dayton, what do you think about the three of us painting our chests with the W, S, and U to cheer them on? You in for that?
If they make it to Dayton, I will paint my chest with the WSU. So I'm going to start going out to work out today because I don't want my body to look as bad.
Perfect. Coach, last question for you, and then we'll let you go. Obviously, you know the Elam ending. That's how every game ends for TBT. You're the coach of the Aftershocks. Who are you giving the ball to take that last shot?
To take the last shot, I'm probably going with Connor Frankamp.
All right. Good answer. Good answer.
Wait, I thought of one more before we let you go. We got you here, so I'm going to make the most of it. So there's going to be a little TBT 3-point competition. If you're picking the guy from the Aftershocks, who are you picking? Is it also Connor Frankamp? Is he just the answer for everything?
You know what? That 3-point competition, they got a lot of guys can shoot it. You got Marcus McDuffie that can really shoot the basketball, and I think he made 6 or 7 threes in a game. You got Samaje Haynes-Jones that can get hot at any point. You obviously got Connor Frankamp, and you got the kid from Oklahoma that played at Iowa State that made like 100 threes. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I know he can really shoot the basketball.
No, absolutely. They're Wichita State. The aftershocks are no opponent to take lightly. That's for sure. We wish we could be in the Koch Arena. Next year we'll be out there for sure. Coach, we appreciate you giving us the time. This was a blast, and wishing you a ton of luck this upcoming season as well.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate
it. Get ready to paint your chest.
I will. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Coach.